Good evening and salam. I am Miriam Afolabi, a member of the MACFEST team. Welcome to the MACFEST 2022 Arab Heritage Festival. Throughout this week, we will be showcasing different forms of Arabic art, from calligraphy to cuisine and poetry. So please book your free ticket on Eventbrite to join us. Today, we will begin with the Islamic Calligraphy Workshop, which will be led by Samir Malik, who is an Islamic artist and calligrapher and has trained in Damascus University. He has been producing Islamic art and designs around the world, as well as holding international exhibitions and workshops for 2 decades. It will be interesting to know that his art composes part of the national collection, and he has been commissioned by and worked with universities, galleries, embassies, and international corporations, as well as clients across the globe, including royalty. Welcome, Samir. It's an honor to have you with us today. Before I hand over to Samir, I would like to request our audience to follow MacFest on our social media sites. And as most of our events are free, we dearly welcome donations. So thank you, and over to you, Samir.
Thank you, Mariam. It's an honor to be here again with MACFEST, and yeah, I was really looking forward to today. And yeah, so are we all ready to go? So make sure that all participants have joined us.
You can start.
Yes, yeah, I think we can start.
Yeah. Great. All right. So welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for being here today and joining us. It's a real honor and privilege. A little bit about me. I'm just going to swap the camera around. So how does this work? 1 second. Yeah. There we are. So I'm a calligraphy artist. 20 years ago, actually, just over 20 years ago, I studied a year in Damascus University, classical Arabic calligraphy, and I just loved it. I thought it was the best thing I'd ever done, and I wanted to do it for the rest of my life since my first lesson, and I have been. And I've had the enormous privilege of working around the world, working for royalty, working with embassies and big design houses, and just creating really, really, beautiful works of art, teaching as well, doing great big workshops. And my biggest honor is always just to teach others to do it as well and have as much fun with it as well as I do. And that's why it's such a privilege to be with you here today. Here are samples of my work. They actually call it Monarchy style, where it's a slightly different from classical Arabic calligraphy. And I've worked on canvas, paper, on fabrics, done works that take the classical form and really try and make something new out of it. That was my intention after I finished my course in Damascus. And I've been doing it for 20 years now, and it's just an enormous privilege. I've done masjids, I've done graphic design, lots of beautiful stuff. And the aim of my work is always to keep it as pure and simple as possible. And that's what I teach others, because that's the way I was taught. So you can see here I've done work for Liverpool. Here I'm in Liverpool, using classical Arabic stuff and just doing really crazy, wonderful stuff with colors and forms. This is a series of the names of God. And so when we do calligraphy, classically in Arabic, there's a few tools we can use. You can see here. So classically, we have the qalam, the bamboo reed pen. I have quite a collection, and different ones, different sizes. But we also, you can get metal pens. You can get these wonderful pens from Turkey, fountain pens. Those who don't have their pens, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you today. What you do is you take 2 pencils like that. It's essential, like, to take 2 of something. It can be pens as well if you don't have pencils, and make sure they're sharpened. You take some tape and you put the pens together and you tape around. So what you have then is a wide pen. So the wide pen will allow you to actually get into the flow and learn about Arabic calligraphy. Those who don't, those who have a qalam, feel free to use that. I use a variety of different pens. My favorite pens are these. These are called automatic pens. They've been handmade in the UK since about 300 years. If I ink that up, you can see they flow very beautifully. But yeah, any information you need, please contact me afterwards or contact me through MACFEST. You can also use, you get wonderful Sharpie, do a wonderful range of chisel tip pens. And with that, you can also do calligraphy. Faber-Castell, Winsor Newton also do these. And normal markers, you can get wide tip markers quite cheaply, pound shop sometimes. But we're going to use these mainly today. There's one other pen I want to show you. These are actually used for manga in Japan, but you can see they have the right shape. My dear brother, Richard, who's going to be leading the poetry workshop, introduced me to these, and they're just beautiful to write with. So you can do. Now, I'll give you all a couple of minutes to actually just get your pencils, pens together, and just to introduce how I was instructed. Now, my first lesson in Damascus in 2011, no, 2001, sorry, 20 years ago, my teacher, who was amazing, said that there's one thing, if you master that one thing, if you just really, really practice that one thing, you can do anything in calligraphy. And that's what I've been doing 20 years. I've been trying to master this one thing. And this one thing has led me to doing work for the Saudi government and the royal family, for the Emirates, for the Queen. My work's part of the National Collection. The Queen, bless her, yeah, own my art. It's all over the world, from Texas to Jerusalem to Mecca, and yeah, it's this one thing, and it's one thing I want to teach you today. Is going to allow you to actually just do any type of Islamic or Arabic calligraphy. Now, the thing that my teacher taught me is, you probably notice that the columns, let's get one here, has an angle. It's a 45-degree angle. And that angle is there for a reason. Now, the difference between European calligraphy and Arabic calligraphy is that the pen in most scripts is held in the same position to allow it to do this. I'm going to show you just now. So if I do like a lamb, you can see this part here. It's like the letter folds in itself, and you have that in many, many letters. So ba, the letter folds in itself. And that's because the pen is always held at that angle. And it allows that beautiful kind of other space to enter into it, because calligraphy, all Islamic art is like a metaphor for what our eyes can't see, but our hearts can feel. And that's why most, not most, but maybe half my clients can't even read or speak Arabic, but actually can read the calligraphy that I've written when I create a piece of art on canvas. And that for me is an enormous privilege, to communicate concepts through calligraphy that for others is abstract art maybe, but they understand and get what they what I'm trying to communicate. So that should be enough time to get everyone to be on the same page. So the thing I want to teach you is, when you have the pencils, try and keep them at that 45-degree angle. Now, if you keep turning them, that's fine, don't worry. I've been practicing 20 years, so that's why I do it well. And if you love it and practice it 20 years, or a little bit less, then I'm sure you'll be able to also keep the pen at that angle. So what you do is you've got the 45-degree angle and you make a dot, nukta. Now that dot, if you can do a dot really, really well, I'll show you with the other pen. That dot will allow you to do everything you need to in Islamic calligraphy. That's what I was taught, and that's what I've been doing for 20 years, and it's improved itself right. So what I'd like you to do is get your pens and make a dot. So I'll do it with pencils. Let's see. Let me just get a fresh sheet. Sorry, excuse me. Let me turn this around. There we are. Okay. So what I'd like you to do is do the dot. Actually, it's not coming out very clearly in the video, so I'm going to quickly use pens for this. Just practice your dots. I'm just behind, just getting pens that will allow me to do the dots and do that clearly. Okay. Yeah. Okay, practice those dots while I tape up my pens. I'm using always reliable Sharpies. This, okay. Okay, so now Sharpies taped up. Now just do a dot. And what I'd like you to do, my first homework when I studied in Damascus was to do 3,000 dots, 3,000 alifs, and 3,000 bas. And I looked at my teacher as if she was crazy. Like, I said to her, my arm's going to fall off. This doesn't make sense. She goes, it doesn't make sense, but just do it. Trust me. I thought, okay, I'm going to trust her. Let's do this. And so I did it. And I went back really proud of all the dots I'd done, all the alifs I'd done, 3,000 of each. And she picked out maybe 20 alifs, 15 bas, and 30 dots that were perfect. And I just thought that's a really, really bad average. I should have more than that. And she said, no, you don't understand. The dots that you've done that are perfect are worthy of a master calligrapher who has spent decades perfecting his art. So what that showed her, she communicated to me, was that I have it inside me to become a master calligrapher. So what I do when I'm stuck, when I find I'm doing calligraphy really, really badly and it looks all terrible and it doesn't come out right, it's just practice dots for maybe 5 minutes, maybe an hour. And I have thousands and thousands of sheets packed with dots. And I've learned to love to do dots, because if you can do a dot perfectly, what a dot teaches you is to allow your pen to communicate with the paper when you're doing calligraphy, but also get that form right. Because if you have a dot and you want to do an alif, you put the pen, say, on the paper as if you're going to do a dot, but instead of going that way, you don't go that way, you go straight down. So you put the pen there and you go straight down and you got alif. So, I mean, I'm not going to do 3,000 alifs today here, but what I'd recommend if you really enjoy it is to practice and practice and practice. You can see, yeah. Now, that's I mean, there's different scripts have different ideas of how long the alif should be. Some are very short and some are very long. It depends what you're trying to do. But what I'm going to do today is just work with the basics of keeping everything 5 dots deep or 5 dots across. And what that means is that if you do a grid with 5 dots, and 5 dots across, so you have this circle, everything should fit inside that circle. So if I'm going to do an alif, it fits inside that circle. I'm going to do a ba, it fits inside that circle. I'm going to do a ha, it fits inside that circle. I'm going to do a ya, it fits inside that circle. So everything fits inside there. And that's why there's like a hidden geometry within Arabic calligraphy. Classical Arabic calligraphy is more technical drawing than actual calligraphy, I found out. And that's cool. You know, that really works. It's a daisy. So what I was going to introduce you to as you're practicing your dots and your alifs is this book. It's a wonderful book. Let me just position the camera properly. Oops, daisy. Okay, it's by Mustafa Jafar. It's published by the British Museum, and it's beautiful. It's easily accessible from Amazon, and from you order it from other good booksellers as well. Venetia Porter has edited it and done the introduction. You can see, I mean, I paid €12 for it. I think I bought this in Vienna. I've got many copies of it. And it goes through and teaches you about the whole alphabet. It starts with how to cut the pen and then goes through all the letters. And this is what I recommend to everybody. And like, for example, the Sard, it teaches you which strokes to do. So to get that shape, the first stroke is there, second stroke goes across, third stroke comes down, and fourth stroke goes across. I'm going to show all that to you in this workshop. But if you want to really practice and get a good guide at home, Nush for Beginners, Nush Script for Beginners, sorry, Mustafa Jafar, available Amazon, $6.99, so very reasonably priced, and it's got amazing sample scripts inside to actually practice, explore, and how to join letters, and it's really great. So I'm going to show that to you again at the end, but let's carry on with the script. Please ask any questions you may have that turn up. So don't be shy. I'm going to show you the bar now. The bar is done like you do a dot and you carry on a little bit so that it's a long dot, and keeping that angle, this 45-degree angle, yeah, you sweep across. Sorry, my hand's covering this. And you get that. This is the crossover point. So I'll show that to you again. Bismillah. Now, when I was studying in Damascus, I had what I thought at the time was the enormous pleasure of going to see master calligraphers doing their work in Damascus. And I was so excited to go. I just thought, I'm going to see these guys who are doing it for a living, and it's such a beautiful art. And, I want to go there and be part of that. And I came away really upset, because what I realized, if you're going to use a column to do a bar, you do a dot like that. And if you see, there's a bit missing here. So they dip the ink again, and they'd color it in. Whoops, a daisy, a bit too much ink there. But what I saw was that the missed bits out. Let me try this other pen to show you what I mean. This is the automatic pen. See if I do that. You see the bits missing here. So then they dip the ink again, and they'd color it in. And I thought, I've been coloring in since I was 5 in school. I can do that. And I thought these guys were great, but they are really great. They've really mastered this technical skill. But a lot of the beautiful calligraphies you see, and people pay sometimes millions of pounds and dollars for in America and Europe and China, are actually done this way that they're actually colored in, the layout's all done, and then they color it in. So I invite you all to recapture that skill we all have as children and just start coloring in. So let's go back to the presentation a little bit. Just practice your dots, practice your dots. That's what it's all about. It's all about dots. Okay, there you can see everything has its proportions. This is one specific script. This actually is Nush as well. You can see that it all goes according to the dots. So if you can do a dot, you know how wide the bar is, or how long the nose of the da is, or the ain, how wide the ain goes. It's it's all there. Once you master the dot, everything else falls into place. So you can see here, for example, the ha is 3.5 dots deep, the head, or the meme, the depth of the meme, 2.5 dots from the head to the tail, and it's all according to the dots. So I really invite you to really practice the dots. So if you got the ba, you got the ta and the ta there. So let's do a dot, a little bit longer. So it's actually a dot and a half. Yeah. And from there, let's get this angle. So from there, ba, da, and da.
While you're working, is it possible to ask you some questions?
Of course, yes, please do, please do.
Okay. You mentioned that you've done some work for the Queen as well, Her Majesty.
Yes.
Tell us what you did while you're working.
I got this. Oh, it was. I got contacted by the office for hospitals, for art for hospitals. It's actually an initiative from the Queen. She started it, and they asked me to create pieces for St. Mary's Hospital. So St. Mary's Hospital for the prayer and peace room, for the multi-faith prayer and peace room, and also for the Islamic prayer room. And so I was commissioned to do this. There's one piece I did, is 3 meters by 1 meter, called The Journey of the Self, that people would sit in front of when they come down to the prayer and peace room to grieve, or to work out what's happening. Because it's like when you're in a hospital visiting somebody or something bad's happening, there's a lot going on. So the purpose the Queen's office gave me was to create something that would bring peace to the hearts of everyone who came into that room.
Oh, that's nice.
And I just thought, what an enormous privilege. And then they loved it so much, they got me to do all the calligraphy for the Islamic prayer room. So I did the Qibla. I did the Kaaba as a dot. So the Kaaba I did as a cube. And then like that. It was like the at sign, but very big on canvas. If you go to the hospital, you'll see it. And then it became part of the national collection. So it was officially from her office, commissioned by the Queen's office to actually create works to bring peace to the hearts of men and women who visited that hospital. Yeah, and that was, oh God, I think 16 years ago now. Yeah,
Wow.
a long time ago.
Long time ago, okay.
Yeah, but it's still enormous privilege, and it's like one of my favorite commissions I ever got. So yeah, that was just
Well done, and congratulations.
Thank you, thank you. So I'm going to show you the hair now. The hair, we can still do it within 5 dots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, do it within this grid first to show you how it all fits. So we got so that the head of the hair would be the whole length, and then keeping the same angle. There we are. I'll show you that separately, not with the grid. So you go across, and all this, don't be worried about making mistakes. Don't be worried about doing it really badly. I mean, I practiced calligraphy for, I think, 6 years before I went to my first masjid and offered to to do to Allah Muhammad in the masjid for the masjid. And the Imam saw my work and said, no, we need you to do the Ayatul Kursi and the 4 calls on the ceiling. And so that was my first masjid in Heathrow. If you ever go to Heathrow Masjid, that's my work. And but I was practicing and doing it badly and getting better and better for 5-6 years before I actually trusted myself enough to actually go and do it in a masjid. So if you keep the pen at that angle, these angles are all the same, notice. And then you have the lovely crossover point here, where if you see the blue line starts on the right side and goes to the left side because the way the pens are held. So that's the hair. Now, if I go too fast, please tell me, and I will slow down. I'm going to show you the dal and the ra. So let's do the dal. Dal is 2 dots straight down, but like together. So you do 1 dot and 2 dots. So you got, and then like the ba, you go across and go across to 2.5 dots, like that. And you have that wonderful crossover point. So I'll show you that again. So you go down 2 dots, and there. Down 2 dots, down 2 dots, down 2 dots. Now, I've told you that we always keep the pen at the same angle, and if we do that, there's a few words that we actually can't do the angles to actually make them work according to the Meshk alphabet. And the first one of those is Ra, so we cheat a little bit. There's others, Ain and Wow, and I'll show you how we do the Ra. The Ra, the head of the Ra, the same as the Dal, and that's the line. And then you do is you go down, and then you leave it like that, and you take the pen and you fill in this bit to make this point work. So if you actually, let's try that. I can do that, but that's my own interpretation of the Ra. But classically, Ra, you stop there, you take the pen, and this is an example I'll show you on using a bamboo reed pen. Let's try this other one. Got another one here. So keep that angle and you go, and then you go down, and then you take the tip of the pen and you color it in. So we all know how to color in, and you get a Ra. Now I can do this because I've been doing it 20 years. So if I wasn't good at this by now, I would be in the wrong job. So if yours isn't as good as this, do not worry. It's fine. It's like my first Ra's probably looked like a dying dinosaur or something, and that's fine. But over the years, I've really kind of got into the practice. 2 dots, and then same angle, and then take the tip, and color in. So with this course, what we're learning is just the basics, how to write the letters. And when you practice and practice and practice the letters, you get better and better and better, and then you can write everything. I have students of mine who've done work for masjids all around the world. I've got students of mine who've done, whose work is decorating homes, businesses all over the world. And they started off just learning the basics and developing it and refining it and refining it and refining it. And just with practice, like everything, the more you practice, the better you get. Just make sure that you give yourself space to make mistakes, and have fun. If you're not having fun, just try and do something else and come back to it. But you should always be breathing and don't take it too seriously and just like flow with it. And you might end up, like me, doing work for royal families and around the world, and just having my work hanging in Jerusalem and Mecca and everywhere else. So moving swiftly along, I'm going to show you this scene. Now the scene, it's like you do half a dot. And as you do half a dot, you already turn like that. And then that goes like that. So it curves. Same curve as the ra, the ba, the dal. It's that curve, but it happens much sooner. You can see the ra has like 2 dots there, and that's like half a dot. And then you start there again, and you do 1 dot and go around. And then you do 2.5 dots. And then it comes around. Now that just comes with practice. Now, if you notice that angle, that angle, that angle, that angle, all the same. And it's because I'm holding my pen at that angle, but it's because I've been doing it for so long that I can do that. So it's just a matter of practice. If I can do it, anybody else can do it. And I've worked with kids in primary school who are excellent after practicing after a while. So let's show you that scene again, scene and sheen. So before you finish the dot, you turn around, and then you come around again, a full dot, and then yeah. So it's you can see some. This is me doing some work with different colors. I was actually trying to do a layout or something. And part of my style, they call it Monarchy style, is where I mix the colors. You can see the colors there mixing a lot as they come through. And that just comes with just experimenting, exploring, and making lots and lots of mistakes. Let me get some paper back here. All right, scene, sheen we've got. I'm going to show you Sard. I told you about Sard earlier. And this form, it's like you start off as if you're going to do a dot, but you don't go that way. You go that around like that. So you go up. Yeah, and then from there, and then same as this end of the scene. So up, 1, 2, 3, 4. And when you practice enough, it all comes out same size because you get a real feel for things. So going up. So please ask questions if any turn up. Sard. Now ta is the same as that in the beginning. So but you have like an aleph that comes through. Let's try that with more space. Ta, up.
Samir, can I ask how you got into calligraphy?
Sure. I worked in medicine. I was a doctor. I was working in Germany, in Austria, and Switzerland, a little bit in Spain. And I always wanted to be an artist when I was a kid. So when after 10 years of practicing and teaching medicine, I decided to just like do what Paul did in Christianity and go to Damascus and find myself. And my sister wanted to learn Arabic at the time, and so she kind of she wanted to go, and I took her and I looked after the kids. She had 2 wonderful sons at the time, and then I got bored very quickly. So I wanted to know what to do. My sister came to me one day and said, "There's a course for calligraphy in Damascus University. Do you want to enroll?" And I was like, "Why not?" it's got to be done. You know, sounds great. And then from my first lesson, I thought it brought me so much peace in my heart that I thought this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And I really did. And, you know, I devoured that course. I'd do 8 hours of calligraphy every day, practicing, doing it really, really badly. What was funny at the time, like I'd find ayahs of the Quran that really appealed to me, and I'd write them out beautifully, or try like what I thought was beautifully at the time. And people would ask me, "Why are you writing Christian calligraphy?" I'd say, "No, it's not. It's Islamic calligraphy. You know, it's just from Quran. This is from, you know, Hadith, and so I just did. From that first lesson, I thought this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And my last lesson, my teacher asked me, you know, what do you want to do now? And I said, oh, I want to go out there and change calligraphy in the world forever and make it really, you know, like accessible and beautiful. So people who aren't even, you know, have no relationship to calligraphy or Arabic would find it amazing. And that's what I've been doing ever since. So it's been, I mean, sometimes it's a struggle, but it's okay because my heart was in it. But this journey's been absolutely amazing. And I, you know, found myself in places where it's just, you know, I just realized how privileged I am to do what I do. I get paid to write beautiful things and decorate people's homes and offices and work with amazing other artists and stuff. And yeah, so it's the best choice ever made. My father was convinced, you know, I'd gone crazy. I was on drugs because I gave up medicine to become an artist. So until he passed away, every year we'd have the conversation of, you know, he'd say, I can get you help. And I was like, well, what for?
Oh,
And he'd say, you know,
no, really?
and I'd say, what for? He's like, yeah, because obviously something's wrong. I was like, no, you know, I'd take him to exhibitions that were in, you know, beautiful big exhibitions in churches where I'd done artwork on commission from the professor of divinity from Cambridge University, for example, or, you know, I took him to the Foreign Office or, you know, amazing places where the exhibitions were held. And he'd like to say, yeah, it's nice, but, you know, it's time to get your real job back now. So for him, it was always something strange, like, you know, artist. That was really strange because he was a tailor. He was an amazing tailor, classically trained tailor. So he's very creative. But for him, I think being an immigrant, you know, it's just we have to get a real job. But I carried on, I persevered, and yeah, I have the best life of anybody I know because I just get to play with shape and form and, you know, share beauty around the world. Yeah. Okay, so let's so keep the questions coming in, please. So this shape, up, down, around, up, down, around. It's dart and sort, yeah. Let's do ain. Ain is one as well where you have to fill in. So the ain, I'm going to do it and then I'll go through the steps. So like that, like it's like the ha. And this bit here, you color in because that bit you can't get with that angle. It's going the wrong angle. So the ain, and then take the tip of the pen and color it in. I'll show you with the color, with the bamboo pen. So you can hear that noise when you go to see professional calligraphers, and they have little factories all over the world. That's what you hear all the time. And then you fill this bit in. It goes around. And you got aim. Excuse me. Right. So let's like this. So that was aim. Now the fa and the kaf and the waw all have the same eye. It's called an eye. So let me show that to you. Now I'm going through this very, very fast. that eye, you can do the wow or the kaf or the fa. But you see, it's amazingly beautiful practice calligraphies. If you Google it, of the wow, where they play with the wow and make it into different patterns. And yeah, so it just takes practice. But the steps are 1, 2, 3. So you start off as if you're going to do a dot, but you go that way for 2 dots, and then from there you go up and right. Yeah. And it is just practice, practice, practice. I can do this because I've been doing it for 20 years. So with that, you can make easy the wow, the kaf, and the fa. Now let's lam and kaf. Let's see, lam is doing. Let's do the dots again. 5. And whenever I'm doing work, I always do dots just to practice getting the flow again. You go straight down, down to the 4th dot, and you go around. And that angle and that angle are the same. So lam, yeah. So that's lam. Kaf will be the same as a lam. So you go down. Let's see, let's get the right angle here. Sorry. Dots. Kaf. Yeah. That's 4 dots too. 4 dots wide. And that's 4 dots deep. 4. Okay. Now, here's the noon is the same as the seen and sheen in that last bit. So noon, you start off, you do 2 dots, then you go around, 2 dots, around, 2 dots, around. Yeah. And like I said, I know I'm making this look easy, but it's because I've been doing it for 20 years. If I couldn't do it well by now, I'd be in the wrong job. There's 2 letters left. Well, 3. There's the meme. People also have problems with the meme, but I'm sure lots of you won't. The meme is you start off as if you're going to do a dot. Every letter you start off as if you're going to do a dot. You go up just half a dot and go down 1.5 dots. And then from there, go across. Meme. So meme. And it is all practice. You'll find alphabets online, but also, this book, like I mentioned earlier, Arabic Calligraphy Nash for Beginners by Mustafa Jafar, available at Amazon, goes through all the letters, all the alphabets, same as I'm doing here. It then shows you how to connect them. So, I mean, for example, if one of you, because people I see aren't asking that many questions, but if you if you want to write your names, please post that in the comments. Now, let me just go and grab some more paper. I thought I had more paper. Just bear with me a second. And while I'm grabbing more paper, please just write in the comments your names. so I can write them for you. So we've done the meme, ha, and the ya. Now the ha is an interesting one. Inaya, okay, good, Inaya. Let me write that down here so I don't forget. Okay. So the ha. The ha, that's also like Kabuta. Same angle. Go down 2.5 dots. And then you start there again. Yeah. And then you see it there. We do that again. So you start same angle, 1, 2.5 dots. And this bit is the bit that needs practice. It's like a upside down heart. And then you go back there. There we are. 1, 2.5 dots. And it is the dots. So once your pen knows what a dot feels like when you've done it, then you'll know 1 dot, 2.5 dots, 3 dots across. You'll feel it because you've done maybe like me, you know, thousands of dots. You'll know, okay, that's what a dot feels like. So 3 dots is that, and 2 dots is that. And let's do ya. So ya, start off. It's like a bigger noon, and then you get the head. Same angle. Yeah. So let's do that again. And then, cool. Now, in Naya, I don't know, hopefully I'm going to spell this right. So we have the Aleph and the Hamza. Here. Noon is just a dot. And then if I spelled this wrong, let me know, and I'll do it beautifully for you and send it to you. Yeah. Now the thing that I learned how to write Arabic beautifully, but I didn't learn how to speak Arabic when I was in Damascus because I didn't want to go to Arabic language school, and every time I try to speak Arabic with my friends, they want to practice their English, of course. And so I'd ask them in Arabic and they'd laugh at me and then reply in English. And so I just lost the ability to practice my Arabic. So I just learned how to write beautifully. But yeah. Sorry, Qaisra, did you want to ask something?
Yes. Tell me, what was the most challenging part of your career? You mentioned your father, you know, he didn't think much of it compared with your medicine career.
Yeah.
The financial side to it. I mean, I know you're very successful now, but what is it like for artists starting off in calligraphy?
For the first 10 years, I was doing other things to make money.
Yes, that's what we like.
So let me just turn the camera around so see my face. But I'd make money occasionally doing the art, but not often enough to actually call it a profession in the sense that it, you know. So, but I find that as challenging because I was brought up. Yeah, my father was a tailor who used to deal in antiques. My mother was a tailoress who, you know, used to do counseling and psychology. So we were always taught. I was very privileged in my family. We don't have to do one thing. We actually, you know, we could try different things out.
Yes.
And so I did tailoring for a while. I did counseling. I learned NLP and hypnotherapy and worked with children. I use that in my teaching now. I did all kinds of things. Antiques dealer, delivery man. I was Sam with the van. I used to do removals for people years ago. And all kinds of different things, you know. And it's like I was brought up with the attitude you do what needs to be done to put food on the table and to pay the bills, which is good. But I
Absolutely.
don't want to lose that aspect. So what I do calligraphy every day a little bit, but not as my main profession. So I do it like maybe an hour just practicing, and it's so relaxing. It's so beautiful. It's just like, my ex-wife was so irritated with me because I'd be so happy and relaxed and chilled out at the end of the evening after doing lots of calligraphy, while I was working. But then it's like I was supposed to be exhausted and tired, and so it was lovely in that sense. That wasn't so challenging. Most challenging aspect was my father, I guess. Like all kids, I want my father to love and accept me. He loved me, he loved me undoubtedly, but he didn't understand me, and he wanted to understand me, and I wanted to understand him. And I think the last couple of years, we just gave up on trying to understand each other and just love each other, so I could just relax and love him. We'd have chats, and it would be meeting as human beings, like two beings from different planets who would just meet. And it was fine, it was good, it was interesting, and we'd show real interest in each other. And, I'd mention about my calligraphy, and he'd like nod and, think, I thought he was thinking, okay, soon he'll get a real job again. But, yeah.
Yeah. By the way, we've got a couple of questions.
Sure.
One of them is, where would you get high quality bamboo pens from? That's one. And in our chat, we have someone saying, will start Samir show us how to do the colored Maliki style?
Okay, yeah. No, okay. High quality bamboo reed pens, go to a good garden center. Now, you can get them from the pound shop, you can get them from Wilkinson, and they are good enough. They will, but if you get the really good quality bamboo reed pens, they'll last you forever. I think, this pen I've had for about 18 years, this one, and it's still as strong today as it was the day I cut it. So the good quality ones, if you go to a really good garden center, you don't have to pay for the ones sent over from Turkey or, and just, there's loads of YouTube videos on how to cut them. Just be careful, get a nice blade and cut them and practice. And then, I've had pens I've given away that I carried around for 10 years, 15 years that, were as good the day I used them. Last day I used them as they were the first day I cut them. So a good quality bamboo reed from a good garden center. We're very lucky. We've got one very near me, and they see, I pay maybe £25 for 100 long, 2-meter bamboo reeds with that. And so it's a bit more than thing, but those bamboo reeds, I've used them in maybe 25 workshops with at least 15 people each workshop. So it's, they last forever. Maneki style. What I do
So just a
is
reminder, Samir, we've only got a few minutes left.
okay.
So that's
Sorry.
one thing. And then there's another one from Hanan, her daughter, saying, how can she write the name of Allah in Arabic calligraphy?
Okay,
So
good. I'm going to show that to you. While I'm talking about the Maliki style, with Maliki style, I let's see. I do with Maliki style. I mix gouache inks. You can buy gouache from Amazon or any place. I mean, Pebeo do this. This is brown gouache. It's like watercolor but more powdery. And what I do is I mix it all together. And when I get the pen, I dip it there, and then I very slowly work with it. Or using the automatic pens, they hold it in the reservoir. So I can dip it. Let's say I've got red in there, blue in there, green in there, gold in there. So I dip it in each of one. And when I do that, all the colors will flow through to produce the Maliki style. Okay, I'm going to show you Allah now. So Allah's, there's a hadith that whoever writes Bismillah beautifully, the doors of Jannah are open for them. I haven't found references yet, but I like that idea that, to really write Bismillah or Allah beautifully, you have to really think about Allah or Bismillah, what it means. And somebody asked me once, why have I written, how many times I've written Allah? I said at least 25,000 times the last 10 years when they asked me. And they asked why, and I said I'm still trying to work out, what Allah is for me. That supreme force that created the universe is still. So you start with doing Aleph, go straight down, and then same thing you do like an Aleph, but you go around like that, and then the second lam you come down and you join it. Yeah, that angle's wrong. And then you've got lam, and then from there is Allah. Or the ha you can do a different way. Allah. Yeah. Or you can write Allah the way I usually write it in my works, but this is a bit more stylized. So you have Alif, Lam, Lam, and then you see it?
Wow.
Yeah. So that's the way I usually write it. And I can do that because I've done it maybe 100,000 times the last 20 years. So alhamdulillah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Samir, this has given us a flavor of calligraphy, or there's only so much we can do in a session. You
Yeah.
showed some wonderful paintings of yours that you've done, and people who started late obviously missed them. Could we have a flashback of those as a treat for them?
Sure.
So people feel enriched by the wonderful work that you've done. We can share as a last item.
Sure. Okay. Let's see. Oh, this one that says light, Noor. So what I did a lot was I learned geometry. I did a lot of photography. My photos been published around the world and used in newspapers. I take photos of unusual things. So this is a photo actually of a masjid in Damascus, I think, or Lebanon. I did the calligraphy. I scanned it in, and I got photos of light that I made, and then I put them all together with Photoshop. So that's an example of my work, and that's Maliki style. You can see the way it comes down to. Excuse me. Let's see. Well, like that says Allah, for example. That's Alif, Lam, Lam, Ha with the text inside. That's from Surah Nur, the text. So I just use different colored inks and everything. This is just like I like painting sometimes. So that was a painting of all the prayers that go direct towards the Kaaba throughout the day from all around the world that go to a space that our hearts, can feel, but our eyes, can't perceive. But yeah, there's there's the Allah, for example, you can see. And hub. I used to write love and God, and people would say, why? Oops, a daisy, sorry. And we say, why? I was like, because I still want to, I'm still working out. And still to this day, I'm still trying to work out, And this is combining, that says love in Toulouse, in the Arabic script. But I combined it with the photography and colors and everything. So it's my works, it's the colors you can see here. The way the colors mix when you get gouache. If anybody needs to ask me questions about doing this, please reach out to me through MACFEST. Yeah, I love answering questions and empowering others to actually just do great work and about anything. So let's see.
What about this picture of you? What are you doing? Show us that again. You're in the
One.
mosque. Yeah, this
Yeah,
one.
that was the Heathrow Masjid near Heathrow Airport. So I was going to do a large. That was when I trusted myself to go to a masjid and say, look, this is what I do, and show them samples and say, look, I'll do this. I did it for my mother. So I wanted to do something in the masjid where everybody would come in when they pray. The barakah would go to my mother, and he told me to do the Ayatul Kursi and the kuls in the ceiling. So this is me actually, I had to plan out the whole thing and work out how everything goes. And you can see in this picture here, there's somebody praying with my calligraphies around the ceiling, or there's like a, that's how it looked. So that was a lot of work. It took me about 6 months of starting up, after Fajr, 4 days a week, and working through until Maghrib. But it was beautiful. It was amazing. It was real discipline for me, and I like being very spontaneous. So it was an education for me because I had to be very disciplined and work slowly and methodically. And yeah.
And I think something like that, you do have to work so methodically. Look at the lines, I don't know what word to use, but there's a lot of skill involved in there, isn't there?
Yeah. I know if I can do it, anybody can do it, because it's practice and practicing enough until you're competent and then just doing it. That's what I like to think. I'm just I work with so many children around the world, or who are much more talented than me, and I always get amazed by how beautiful their minds work, and how when they express their creativity then in art. It's fascinating for me. It's just, and I'm good. I am good at what I do, but
Yeah, very good, mashallah. Excellent, absolutely. That's why we keep hosting you.
thank you.
Look at those gorgeous colors, creativity. It's a real skill. And, you've got the best of the both worlds. You've got other professions, and you've got this wonderful creative under your belt. And you are fulfilling people's, how shall I say, enriching people's lives.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah.
And you definitely enrich our festival with it.
Thank
I
you.
know it's just a flavor, but I'm sure you offer other courses where people can attend and join. So if people want to get in touch with Samir, they can. If people are still interested in calligraphy, in the new year, we will have Turkish calligraphy. And then for Women Festival, we'll have live calligraphy at Whitworth Art Gallery. So calligraphy is one of our main art form. And, it's amazing. So Mariam, back to you. And thank you from me to Samir, but Mariam, over to you.
Thank you very much, Samir, for taking the time to teach us like the different individual letters and intricacies, like just taking us from the basics, and then showing us how we can expand our knowledge. So that's been a wonderful experience. Thank you very much for your time today. And also
is it honor?
You're very welcome. And also to our audience, both old and new, many thanks for making the time to join us today. So our next event will be taking you to Egypt with a MACFEST team member, Ala Ali, and she'll be teaching us how to make some Egyptian street food. So please join us on Thursday, 18 September to learn more about Egyptian food. Thank you and Assalamu alaikum.